All right, everybody. Welcome to the Hunter's Eyes podcast, sports that's seen through Marcus Hunter's eyes, and being joined now by a special guest, Greg Rufus, and Greg and I worked at Channel 3 here in Memphis. But before we get started on what we're talking about today, which is the 49ers' victory over the Eagles that just happened a few minutes ago, click the video, like this video, subscribe so you can get a lot more context or content. Greg is my first guest. And what a perfect first guest to have.
Man, I'm so glad to be here. I'm so glad to be on your podcast, man. It's an honor to be here.
Hey, man, I appreciate it. Appreciate you being here with me. And, it's an honor to have you, because I know that you know a lot about sports.
Yeah.
And Greg and I, we worked together, for over a year. Mm-hmm. And last year, we couldn't wait for that NFC Championship game matchup. 49ers taking on the Eagles. Mm-hmm. And the game was pretty much over after the first series.
I mean, because your quarterback was hurt, knocked out, and then Josh Johnson, your second backup, he got concussed out. But it all played out. Poetic justice for you guys tonight. It was poetic justice. You guys came in start to finish. It will start because first quarter it wasn't looking so good. The first quarter, -6 yards. I'm like, oh, okay, we could. But we only had 2 field goals in the first quarter. Yeah. I'm like, oh, we needed some touchdowns. But your offense, it's just so dynamic. Debo, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. It's just too much, man.
The 49ers with that bend but don't break mentality, right. And bent a lot in the first quarter of that football game. Mm-hmm. But then after that, like you said, the offense got going in the second quarter, and then when the offense got going, the defense got going also.
6 straight touchdowns. It was just clockwork with you guys, and you guys are clearly the best team in the NFC.
Yeah.
Clearly. I mean, started off, I will admit, first 2, remember you lost to Cleveland,
yeah,
and you lost to Minnesota, mm-hmm, and Cincinnati. I was like, we don't know about Brock Purdy. I don't know. Can he be that? He answered a lot of questions tonight. Went down to Philadelphia. He played pose, didn't make a mistake, threw no interception, no fumble, no turnover. That's all you can ask for a quarterback, your quarterback.
Yeah, I'm still a little bit on the fence about Brock Purdy. I mean, Brock Purdy has played great. He is an MVP candidate this year.
He is.
And I was
not on Christian, but he's playing at elite quarterback level. Christian McCaffrey is the engine of your team.
Christian, Debo, Brock, those guys together, they all kind of go hand in hand. I would give the nod right now to Christian, but Brock's in the conversation.
He's in the conversation. I'll give you that.
But I will say this about Brock. Like I said at the beginning of the game, I was looking forward to a situation where maybe the 49ers were down by 2 scores and Brock had to lead the team back something. Mm-hmm. He hasn't really shown that he can do so far in his career. Didn't really have to show that tonight because after the 49ers scored their first touchdown, it was just downhill from there.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think, like I said, the way he's playing right now, you guys are going to be unstoppable. I mean, I can only speak for my Eagles. We got lucky. And the way we've been playing, it's just the defense has not been there like it was last year. There's no pressure. The coverage is not there. There's something missing with the defense. And I think the offensive defensive coordinators thing, they're gone to being head coaches, is taking a toll on them. And this year, I know they're 10-2 now, but it's been some ugly, wild games, not consistent. And I just think they need to get back on that defensive, consistent level. I'm not worried, but moving forward, I think the game. Look, I'm just gonna say right now, everybody's gonna write them off next week against the Cowboys.
Oh yeah,
everybody's gonna write them off, but they need to play their best game next week. They need to get back into the defensive key, get to the quarterback. Brock Purdy had a clean game today.
He did.
I didn't see him get no type of hits, no type of pressure, nothing. He had a clean game today. And we can't do that moving forward with this team.
No, you can't. And like you said about the matchup with the Cowboys next week, a lot of people are going to be focused on that matchup with Dallas just because it's a divisional game. After this loss, if the Cowboys can win that game, then they're going to be tied in the division, and an opportunity for the Eagles not only to fall out of the number 1 seed, but to fall all the way to a wild card if they're not careful. This game tonight had a lot of implications when it comes to that. And I know it was one of the rare times that Cowboys fans were going to root for the 49ers, and next week's going to be one of the rare times that 49er fans are going to root for the Cowboys because we need the Cowboys to beat the Eagles to knock them out of that 1 seed so San Fran can get that first round bye and also, the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. There was a turning point in the game there where I thought Philadelphia might have a chance to come back when some security guard for the Eagles got involved in a scuffle. And Greenlaw, Dre Greenlaw, got kicked out of the game because he put his hand in the guy's face.
Yeah.
I mean, so we
instigator.
Yeah, we lose a linebacker and they lose a security guard who has absolutely no say so in what's going on the field.
Dre Greenyard. He's a good defender. He's a good linebacker.
Yeah.
That was one of your key defensive players. That was a crazy type of events going on. Like I've never seen that before. Like a security guard, not even a coach, assistant, a security guard for the Eagles has been there probably up to 10 years, whatever. Get into it with an NFL player, like a linebacker. Like I've never seen that before. Like
and that's crazy. And the Philadelphia fans, they were like cheering him on. They were applauding him. They thought it was so great of what he was doing. And I'm sitting there,
motivate him and all.
Yeah, I'm sitting there thinking about this is going to hurt our team for some dude. You know what I mean, I'm pretty sure he's going to get free drinks in Philadelphia for the rest of his life because of that. But at the same time,
it was dumb.
It was dumb, and it didn't have the out effects that Philly fans were hoping that it was going to have, motivating their team to come back and get the victory. They did go on to score a touchdown, I believe, right after that. But the 49ers got on offense, went back down and scored and kind of shut that momentum down.
And then Jalen Hurts' injury, like, I don't know why Coach Nick brought him back in. Like, I just feel like at that point of the game, just take him out, take AJ out, take the whole offense out. Just take everybody out and just get ready for the Dallas Cowboys because the key to the Eagles right now is Jalen Hurts. Like, if he's going to lead us, he's got to lead us to victory. Like, his decision-making, him throwing the ball down the field, taking hits and all. Jalen Hurts is the key. We can't, and they said concussion. Now, if it's concussion, you got to go through concussion protocol. You got to go through, why was he, allowed to come back in the game? Like, I don't know. That might be a question for this week. Like, how was Jalen, if they thought it was concussion, why was he allowed to come back in the game? Like,
yeah, I guess they went and did the test in the back, and they they decided that he did not have a concussion. Mm-hmm. But and we've heard and had reports that NFL players, they know how to beat those tests. When they go through the test at the beginning of the season, they'll do poorly on them. So if they do get a concussion in the game, then if they do poorly on the test, it'll be in line with what they did originally because they did poorly to begin with purposefully so they can play football. So, my rule of thumb is if you think that a player may have a concussion, if you see a hard hit to the head, if you see it clearly on video, just error on the side of caution and not let the guy play. Especially like you said, they were out of the game. They weren't going to come back and win.
Just reckless. And I just feel like he's not the only Coach Nick is not the only one here on. There are other coaches, other philosophies. I gotta let them play to get their momentum for next week. Blah. I hate that philosophy so much. Like, just prepare. Just have your team ready for next week. Just play it safe. Like, you're here for a reason. You're 10. Well, we were 10-1. Now we're 10-2. We still are. Like, our destiny is still there. Like, all we have to do is go to Dallas and win. And then Seattle, and then the rest of the games are easy and all. Our destiny is still there. We just have to control it and not let the dump. Injuries can happen just like that. And if an injury happens to any of our key players, any team, you're toast. So I just think he should have took more caution and just took Jalen and other people on offense and defense out the game.
And speaking of the injuries side of it, it was injuries to San Francisco's team that caused them to lose 3 games in a row. So
Trent Williams,
Trent Williams and Debo were out. So you're only a couple of injuries from your key players of not being even a competitive team anymore. So
right. And so I just think for Eagles moving forward, I feel like they needed this though because like I said, they just been playing so not themselves, mediocre. Defense needs to step up, And I'll say this for the Cowboys, all my Cowboy fans out there who will be watching this, and all the people I know. If you think that if y'all play the way you played against Seattle last week, that's gonna fly with us, you got another thing coming. I want their defense to play like they played against Seattle. And I want us to play our top 8 game when we go to Big D next Sunday night because they need a marquee win. They need a statement game, and they really have not had that statement game yet. But next week will be their statement game, so I'm excited.
Yeah, so the statement game next week for the Eagles. You think Philadelphia is going to go into Dallas and make a statement?
I'm confident. I will place. I'm confident. I'm really confident that we can go to Dallas and win next week.
Well, either way it goes, you go to Dallas, win next week. This is going to tell 49ers fans that just how much further we are ahead of the Cowboys and the Eagles.
Yeah, because I mean, look, everybody, it's America's team. We know what the Cowboys are. They're America's team. They're America's darlings. When they're up, but they haven't really played anybody. Like when they played you guys, they lost. When they played us in Philly, they lost. When they played big time, it's like the Miami Dolphins of the AFC. The Dolphins are the same thing. They beat up on the teams. They average like 36 against mediocre teams. But it's everybody else 17. That's like a 3-touchdown advantage. True. So I feel like if the Cowboys are for real, they need to go beat us next week instead of beating up on the Washington Commanders and the Giants and all that. Beat up on good teams.
And because against those bad teams, they'll put up 35, 40, 50 points. Look really good against those. The Dak Prescott's numbers will be great. Right. And then they ended up playing a good team and not looking that good or impressive. We talked about Jalen Hurts and Jalen's former team, Alabama. Mm-hmm. I want to talk about them going into the college football playoffs. Alabama with the upset last night over the Georgia Bulldogs. Mm-hmm. I will say this: I was rooting for Georgia because I wanted to believe and make sure that an SEC team got into the playoffs.
You wanted chaos too.
I did want chaos.
Exactly.
And when Alabama won, I immediately knew that an SEC team is going to get in. They're not going to leave an SEC team out. How do you think the playoff committee did? Do you think they got it wrong? The teams are Michigan, the number 1 seed, going against Alabama, the 4 seed, and you have Washington, the 2 seed, against Texas, the 3 seed. Do you think they got it right?
I don't. I mean, but it's politics, though. I understand. They had to have an SEC team. I think about TSU last year. TSU, they were undefeated. Everybody was crying, TCU, I'm sorry, TCU has to be there. They have to be there. They get there. They beat Michigan. Very good win and all. They get to Georgia. Not just
a blowout.
It was away. And so I think for Florida State, this is the first time a team has been undefeated in a Power 5 and not been in the playoffs. So I think they, like you said, SEC. They want an SEC team there. Georgia won this game, they would have been automatically in there. Yeah. No cries about it. It's like, okay, Georgia, you deserve to be there now. Alabama there, the way they played all year, it's just been,
they've been surviving by the skin of their teeth a lot.
I mean, the Auburn game last week, that miracle they had to win that game. The Central Florida, they almost lost to Central Florida back in November. I mean, team look-wise, Alabama's just, they didn't look like Alabama of the past Alabamas we've known to have. Like, Florida State was undefeated. I know they lost their quarterback, but I think they got punched because their quarterback was out, and they're off. They barely beat Louisville in their AAC conference championship game last night. So I think it's because all that equivalent to, let's just get Alabama in. We get the marquee game, Michigan, Alabama, Texas, Washington. Let's get those marquee games because you put Florida State in there, I don't think it would have been the sexy game.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, the ratings are going to be through the roof for Alabama, Michigan. People are going to want to watch that game. Right. And then if Alabama does manage to win, people are going to be clamoring to see rematch Alabama, Texas, if that does happen. For TV purposes, it's perfect. This committee did exactly what they needed to do for the TV purposes. For which teams deserve to be in there, I gotta say, I think they got it right. I mean, I may be an SEC homer because I played for an SEC team. I'm a professor at an SEC school, and so I live and bleed in SEC. But this is why Florida State, they're in the ACC, and the ACC wasn't that tough this year. I mean, I understand the ACC, they were 6-4 against SEC teams this year. Yeah, but the SEC teams this year, they played the best SEC teams. Yeah. They have a lot of teams going to bowl games, but yes, because they played each other in the regular season. And so there are so many teams right now in the ACC that have 4-4 records in the ACC. 4-4, 3-4, 4-3 records in the ACC. It's a mediocre league. And so Florida State was the best of the mediocre teams in that league. And I think if you look at it, this year's Florida State team is not better than last year's TCU team. And if they got into the playoffs against Michigan, Washington, or Texas, they're getting destroyed. And I just think that when you look at it from a collective like that, I think the committee got it right because no one wants to see a team get in there and get destroyed. But they're going to have a chance to prove if they deserve to be in there. They're going to play Georgia in the bowl game and go up against an SEC team. It wouldn't surprise me if Georgia is not fully manned because they may have some guys that just don't play because they're trying to get into the NFL. And I think Georgia's still going to blow them out. So, shout out to FSU, Coach Norvell, former head coach for the Memphis Tigers. Shout out to him as well. Great season. But you are where you are next year. Be good next year, and you'll be in the 12-team playoffs. So that'll be great for a lot of schools, the 12-team playoffs. Be great next year, and you will have an opportunity to prove it on the field.
You're right. I just think it's just can the playoff system can the SEC can they survive with that SEC team? And I know, like you said, it's just ratings and all, but I want to see a playoff system where there's no SEC team. Like if you're
well, you won't get the best team.
But you will though. Sometimes the SEC is gonna have a down year. Like the ACC had a down year this year. SEC is gonna be a down year. It's gonna have a down year. One of these years.
I don't think.
Can they survive that? It's my thing. Or is it just money? Like it's like SEC people. Like it's the money. It's
Well, if you're looking at it from that standpoint, this year the SEC did have a down year. Sure. Alabama lost to Texas in the second game of the season. Ole Miss is the third best team in the SEC. When is Ole Miss ever going to again be the third best team in the SEC? Georgia, undefeated all year, won a lot of those games barely. So if there was ever a year to leave the SEC out, this was the year to leave an SEC team out, and yet the committee still felt like, no, we got to put one on there.
You got to put one on there. I understand. But I'm FSU they will be there. They're going to be like head of the topic because Clemson they're trending down. Like Dabo and all, they're trending down. Trying to think Clemson. I just think ACC in general might be on the downtrend, but I think Florida State will always be right there. Washington, like Pac-12, like there's a lot of alignment with Pac-12 next year. They're moving to the Big Ten. Like it's a lot of stuff with Pac-12. So this might be the last hoorah for Pac-12 too. So it's good. You got David and Goliath. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. Also excited. Next year Texas and Oklahoma are going to be in the SEC. So excited to see those matchups. I think the playoffs are going to be great either way. But definitely looking forward to it. All right, everybody. Greg also has a podcast. Greg, what's your podcast?
It is Throw It Down, Big Fella Podcast with my man Darren Randolph. He works at WRAG as well, producer. So check us out. We will have it air every Friday at 7 o'clock on YouTube. Subscribe to Throw It Down, Big Fella Podcast.
All right, y'all. Check out the Throw It Down, Big Fella Podcast and click and subscribe to the Hunter's Eyes Podcast and to Hunter's Eyes Productions page and have much more content like this. I appreciate Greg for stopping in and being my first guest on the show.
Man,
sorry about the Eagles, boy.
Congratulations, man.
Appreciate it. Sorry about Philly.
Fly, Eagles, fly still. But
this is
about y'all tonight.
All right, appreciate it. All right, everybody, holler back at us and clanger.